Shut up and sit down.
Welcome into another Red Out podcast. I'm Jake.
Hey guys, how's it going? Devin here in the house. And special guest tonight from the Towel Rack. Say hello, buddy.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for letting me come on.
Yep, this is Jared.
You've already forgotten how to say his last name. You said it twice.
No. It's just intimidating. Go for it, Jared.
Jared Rosdeutscher.
There we go.
Dutcher.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Just rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, Dutcher.
Dude,
Make sure
I've
to get
got
the ch in there.
I'm sorry. I've got this horrible fear of calling you Rosdeutscher.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to bite my tongue.
You've heard that before.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
We're coming at you tonight and going to throw in a quick episode and show how everybody's doing. So I guess we'll get started with winners and losers.
Well, before we do that, Jared, do you want to plug kind of where people can find you, where they can find your content outside of the Towel Rack, your Twitter, any other handles you want to throw out there?
Oh, yeah, I mean, my universal kind of @ is JaredR24. I know that's like for like Instagram probably, but if you type in Jared ROSD on Twitter, then you will probably see my name because I'm the only person in the United States with my name, so...
Very good.
All you have to do is the first 4 letters of my last name and it will show up, so you guys should be good.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Good. Everybody go follow.
Go follow Jared R24.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest thing is biggest winner this week is the Georgia kicker.
Yeah, seriously.
Awesomest thing ever.
There was such chalk across the board for football kind of this week at like the national level. I was honestly just like, okay, what cool stuff happened? And that was one where the Georgia kicker, if you guys didn't see it, I'm sure it was all over everywhere, but old dude scored an extra point off of a botched snap.
Which Western could not have done. It would have been blocked, and they'd have knocked it all the way back to the 30, I'm sure.
And scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Saddest
thing
I don't want to
ever.
know what that would look like.
Yeah, that's what when we told Jared off mic, we were like, yeah, it's the Georgia kicker, this winner. He's like, dude, that guy is a winner every week.
Yeah, of course
Like,
he's a
do you
winner.
guys know, like, his full story and everything? Like, it's really interesting just how he got to Georgia and everything. And, of course, he has, like, the glasses, like, the really thick frame glasses that just, like, put his, like, aura over the edge. I mean, I wouldn't want to mess with this guy. I mean, he's just got sort of, like, that nerdy vibe. But, yeah, he's a baller. Like, he's so
Well, we
consistent.
identify
He's
with
better
that.
than anything Alabama's ever had in their school history as far as kickers is concerned.
See, yeah, if only you could see the, quote, Red Out studio, you would be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he fits in completely with you guys.
Yeah,
so
we
completely
get
fine.
the nerd vibe quite a bit, because that's what we are.
Yeah, we completely love it.
Now, for a loser nationally, what I had, because, again, the listeners know, Jared, you may not, I graduated from U of L's law school. I continue to say that, because it's like my claim to fame. But that's how I explain my secondary fandom for U of L.
Sorry, the smug is getting really thick in here.
Yeah, damn right. I will not go to court for any of you. I don't care. So I listen to, I follow Louisville athletics a little bit, and the loser for this week, absolutely for me, is Bobby Petrino.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting to be a real rough situation in Louisville for him, and it's kind of one of those that he reminds me of the student that just rolled out of bed and just showed up at class in his pajamas, and he's like, oh crap, there's a test this week? I mean, that's the aura that I'm getting from him as far as game-to-game goes. Because it was like, I had one U of L fan tell me that it looked just like the Seattle Seahawks.
First down.
Yeah, it was 1 yard line. They throw an interception in the end zone. And of course, the guy's like, yeah, his name was Pete. And I'm like, Carol? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awful if that's the case.
That makes me sad that I affiliate with those humans.
In-state wise, UK's the winner again this week against South Carolina. Yeah, I agree.
Man, I really wish that I lived in Lexington and owned a sofa place right now, because if they keep winning, sales are going to go up immensely.
Yes,
so much.
yes.
Amen.
I don't know what it is about burning sofas in Lexington.
I'm telling you, man, once you get...
It's just their trademark.
I'm serious. Once you get east of, I don't know, there's a point in Kentucky, maybe once more to E-Town, I don't know. Once you get east of that, they just start burning couches, and it doesn't stop till you get all the way through West Virginia.
Dude, there's some dude, like Jared said, who's selling couches, and he's like, ooh, I got them 50% off! Because apparently he's, like, Italian.
Yeah, there's Italian couch dealers.
But I don't really feel like this game, the South Carolina game, was not a test for UK. They've beaten South Carolina the past 5 years. Carolina's like, oh, we're so bad because Kentucky's beating us. You've been bad, bro. I'm sorry. You haven't gotten any better. This week's going to be their real test playing A&M. So for you UK fans out there, buckle up because either it's going to be a rough game or it's going to be a great game.
I refuse to acknowledge that any of you listen to this, and while I am happy for any listenership, if you live in Bowling Green and you did not attend the University of Kentucky and you cheer for Kentucky over the Tops, I'm not going to tell you what I think you should do, but instead I'm going to say go get season tickets to Tops basketball because it's very affordable.
Yes.
And change your allegiance.
Hey, and I mean, you don't have to drive for, 2 or 3 hours to get to
2.5
Lexington.
hours.
You can drive to Western. I mean, you may have to sit for 2.5 hours after the game, but that's a separate story.
You are right.
But
you are so right.
Yeah, I mean,
Jared, do you hate that too?
Yeah, it's annoying because, see, usually, when I was a student especially, I commuted to campus and everything. And my junior and senior year was when I had the realization to be like, man, I can go to basketball games for free instead of just watch it on the WKU PBS channel, which I did because I live in Franklin, Kentucky, for those of you that don't know. And I was like, I'm going to go to some games. And I went to all but maybe 6 within my junior and senior year combined. I wanted to go to everything. So usually I'd go by myself and I'd just park over at the top of the hill, across from Cherry,
that's
or
always
I'd just park over in the commuter lot over by University. And it's not as bad because you can kind of maneuver your way out. But if you go into the parking structure, it's always a mess.
Yeah, park structure is a nightmare. We always park right across from Cherry and then just go down the back side of the hill, through downtown and out.
Oh, yeah. And fun fact for you all, Jake grew up in Warren County, in a little community called Three Forks, and I grew up in Allen County.
Which is right across the river from
yes.
each other.
So, So, Jared, of course, that's
our neck of the woods.
Yeah, we're same north. Counties, all within...
Pretty much.
All right there together. Let's see. Louisville being the obvious loser to Florida State, which is having an awful season on their own.
Poor Willie.
Poor Willie T.
I seriously think if Western and Florida State played each other, the game would not end.
Yeah,
it would still be going on to this day. If it started 3 weeks ago, it would still be happening right now because nobody could score.
I formation, run the ball.
I could just see the
5-yard
announcers.
Screen.
The announcers are like, we're in our 72nd overtime, and it's been awful, and we're just going home. Everybody just go home.
Y'all just keep playing.
Keep
it's
playing.
Cool.
We're not going to cover this anymore.
Y'all finish it, and we'll check back in next week and see what happened.
Just finish it with street rules.
Yes, street rules. Yes, could just see Eli Brown come out with a shank.
He is from Warren East, man.
Hey, yes, he is from East, so I can make fun of him. Okay, conference winners losers. The big loser this week is FAU. Go from
why is that?
Yeah, to go from king of the conference to losing to MTSU. What was the final on that? 25-24, something like that?
Jared, did you pay attention to that game at all? Because I know I didn't.
I was traveling back from Indiana, so I didn't really get to see as much from that.
Oh, that's right. You were at the NCAA to complain about a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, you were hanging out with Mark Emmert. You were traveling back from the Southern District of New York to see if Mark Emmert had anything to say about the trials that are going on.
That's right.
Dude.
If only.
Have y'all been... Jared, since you're a basketball dude, I'm sure you've been following that, but Devin, have you heard any of the stuff coming out of that?
It's just such a mess.
Dude, that Brian Bowen Sr. this afternoon has, names...
Oklahoma, he's names?
Not people, but Oklahoma State offering to pay $150,000.
Oh my gosh!
Creighton offering $100,000.
Yeah, and of course, I heard on the news, or I heard from a friend that Louisville is complaining why the FBI is investigating them. I don't know if it's necessarily them or if it's just kind of the entire situation around them.
I don't know who's even saying that anymore because I think everybody literally is like, yeah, now we screwed up. Yeah, there were hookers and strippers and we did stupid stuff. Can we move on now?
I don't know. Well, it's not necessarily the hookers and strippers. I think it's just the pay.
Still, well, more stuff came out that Dawkins paid another player $900 and that Kenny Payne also allegedly, both of these haven't been proven yet, paid a player $1,300, just hand in cash. So we'll see where that ends up.
Yeah, this is getting to. I mean, this is a game changer for college athletics.
I don't know. It depends. I don't think anybody's gonna get fired. To be honest with you,
they're gonna go to jail.
Well,
not about Louisville.
The coaches aren't. A couple of guys from Adidas are gonna, but
well, I think a couple of the coaches took money. They suspected some of them were going to go. I don't know.
it just depends on if they were bribed to. The main crux of this thing was the actual crime part of it, not the NCAA side, was that they accepted bribes to funnel guys to financial advisors, and that as a state employee is illegal. So,
well, I mean, it's a breach of trust too.
Yeah, I mean, as a state employee, you're not allowed. I mean, it's like a garbage collector. Like, you're not allowed to. You're not allowed
to take
a garbage
bribes. Collector. Is that what you're really about to say?
Yeah, like if you work for the city of Radcliffe, right? And you go around picking up trash, and you pay them $200 to come to your house first.
I was like,
that's
okay, let's see how this is going to connect here. I'm really wondering where the garbage collector starts telling me who my agent needs to be.
Oh yeah, maybe not. Man, my arguments always come around.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever you say.
But yeah,
okay.
Screw Middle, even though they won.
Yes, and God, we hate those guys. Obviously, Western is the loser this week against MTSU. I'm sorry, that was the worst call. That last call where Duncan supposedly fumbled was the worst call I've heard.
So, Jared, is it a forward pass? Or was it an incomplete pass?
Yeah, it's close. I mean, I think it may have been a forward pass, but that's just me. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, it's still tragic regardless.
Oh my gosh, it was a heartbreaker.
It's bad decision making, is what that is.
Yeah, it was. My thing is, I'm sitting here and I'm screaming, "Why are we doing that shuttle pass with Mike Dean again? 10-yard line. I mean, that's perfect setup right there. Even to get us closer. What was it? Third down, I think.
I don't remember.
Second or third down.
I've kind of blacked it out.
I know, and I'm the kind of the same way. It's like a hangover at this point. You just like, did it really happen? But anyway, awful game. Western loses to Marshall. Ugh, God, I hate those guys.
I don't hate Marshall as much. I'm kind of like meh on Marshall.
But
Jared, Devin and I have talked about this, and we've even bounced it around to you. That I honestly think that the Marshall side trying to make the Moonshine Throwdown, which is a great name, second only to 100 Miles of Hate, like the hot new superior rivalry that I am mildly apathetic about it. I don't know where you sit, but it will never for me be anything like 100 Miles of Hate.
See, I'm the same way. I don't feel as much. MTSU comes to town and I'm like, oh, screw those guys. But Marshall comes to town and I'm just like, it's Marshall.
Yeah, see, I have a really weird relationship with Marshall, too, because just that very first time we played them in football, we spoiled their perfect season, ranked record, and everything. I was like, oh, yeah. And I remember all the comments from Marshall fans on the internet after that. If you want to talk about mad online, those people were mad online, to say the least.
Oh, my gosh.
But the way that I view them, I definitely kind of view them as rivals. Definitely not middle level. I mean, it takes years to be able to do that. But I mean, I kind of respect them. I respect their basketball program more than their football program because D'Antoni, he's really class act and stuff. They're pretty good.
Now, see, that's an interesting take because you will not find a Marshall fan that is not absolutely still got the 90s and late 90s and We Are Marshall in their butt right now.
Yeah. Apparently, my brother was at the game. And he said that part of the student section started yelling out, "We are Western." And Marshall fans were getting angry and cursing. And I'm like, that is hilarious. I'm not really impressed with Isaiah Green. He's a true freshman. And like we said on the show, if they got the pressure there, and I mean, Western, I think, just did not capitalize on turnovers. I mean, if we technically capitalized on every turnover, if we scored at least a touchdown on every turnover, we would have won by 25.
I mean, even if you had converted a field goal.
Yeah, even a field goal.
If you had 2 field goals, you win by 3.
But out of 4 turnovers, we had 3 points.
Yeah,
and it's the most frustrating thing ever.
Yeah, because you get those gifts and you get those amazing spots with field position and everything, and still not being able to get it in, which sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
It does suck when you cannot get it in. I agree, Jared. Wholeheartedly.
But I will say, Tyree Brady was a beast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was watching that game and he was making catches and I was like, this kid's legit.
I mean, that last kind of drive, that's what, I mean, he's going to play on Sunday. I mean,
yeah, he will. He'll play on Sunday. He's a very talented young man.
I miss having those receivers. Come back, Taylor.
I mean, Lucky's good, but he's not that caliber. I mean,
He didn't have the size either.
Of course, Duncan, he had 263 yards, 24 of 39. Isaiah Green had 288, 18 of 39. I mean, he just wasn't as effective as...
I mean, he's a baby.
I mean, but so is Duncan. I consider Duncan a baby, too.
Yeah, he is. He looks like a baby.
I mean, he's been in the system longer. He's redshirted and everything, but, I mean, as far as playing time is concerned, he never really had anything.
No, I mean, of course, I always... I'm sitting here looking at... Good gosh. I'm sitting here looking at Isaiah Green, and I'm just like, this poor kid. He just has no idea. But the offensive line is the same way for us. I think our offensive line is just so young. And it showed on the first 2 or 3 series there because we just got stalled out. And I think a lot of it was just Marshall taking note of the way that Maine hit us with stunts and blitzes. That's my thought.
Yeah. Like, I was listening to the Western Marshall game on the radio when I was traveling back. It was almost as soon as we got through Bowling Green, I was able to pick it up on the radio. And, like, the very first play of the game for Western was, like, that false start / delay a game, whatever you really want to call it. And I was just like, oh, Lord, please don't let it be like this.
Yes, yeah. Well, and that is the hardest thing to do is for a center to be offsides.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you have
that's
to.
That's impressive, actually.
That is very impressive. I played center. I played center in high school, and you've really got to screw up. I mean, you got to like jerk your hand or something. You know, I mean, that's literally what you do to be offsides as a center. But
snap the ball. Dude.
Yeah, just snap the ball, dude. Westerns, as far as rushing goes, Western had 61 yards, and Josh Sloan, he actually didn't do too bad. Joshua Sloan. Samuel. God, did I say Sloan?
You did.
Gosh, I combined
It's like
names.
Dragon Ball Z. They do the fusion dance. And then,
Yes, they did the fusion dance. That would actually be a pretty cool fusion.
That would.
Josh Samuel had 10 carries for 43 yards. I mean, they just kind of got stomped.
One of the things that I was, again, because I had a little rant to myself earlier about everybody talking crap about the former coach and kind of gargling on the new one and blaming everything on recruiting, which is a brand new narrative. But anyways, you have talent at running back.
Yeah.
And yet you continue to just cycle through who's going to be your lead dude.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a real good way to establish a rhythm.
My thing is, though, is like Geno Appleberry. He didn't have a lot of success. Where was LaFrance? That's what I want to know. Was he at receiver?
Yeah, he definitely needs some more playing time for sure. He's really good.
Now, Jared, I don't know. Did you listen to some of the post game and some of the stuff from this week? Because didn't Sanford say that he needs to play LaFrance more?
It's like, if anyone is in control of that, it would be you.
Yeah, exactly. You would think.
That's your call, bro.
I'm almost picturing like Sanford coming up to his dad and going, "Dad, I want to play LaFrance." Yeah. No, Junior. I said no. But I wanna.
Like we already said, he's got to fire his dad.
Yeah, I agree. He's got to fire his father. But that kid's good. I really enjoy watching LaFrance and Samuel are a great duo.
Yeah, it's thunder and lightning, just like we used to have.
Yeah, and Geno Appleberry, he's a good running back too. I just don't know. I don't know how good he is compared to Samuel and LaFrance.
That's
like,
fine.
Kind of at different levels.
Garland LaFrance needs to get the ball.
And I don't know, honestly, if they don't need to put LaFrance at a slot.
I mean, they've had success with him at receiver.
Yeah, him at slot receiver would be great. Put him in a bubble pass, screen pass, or something with the outside, and just let his speed take over on the outside. And I think you could do wonders. But it's neither here nor there. So, Jacquez Sloan led the receivers with 87 yards. Yeah, basically, blah, 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 blah.
And it's overall a disappointing game.
It was, yeah. I will say the defense was awesome, though.
Which, again, that's one of my things, right? That's what I said, and we'll get to the grades here in a minute, the grades article that the Tower Rack published. But one game, you're able to move the ball at will. You're able to put up a lot of yards. And I know Ball State's different than Marshall. That's a fair assessment. But all across this season, it's been inconsistent. 1 week your offense can score, 1 week it can't. 1 week your defense can't stop anybody, the next week it can. That is a sign of poor coaching. I'm sorry.
I don't disagree with that. I think that...
But yes, go defense for actually being able to stop Marshall somewhat.
Our defense has been pretty good and solid this entire year. It's just, I don't know. It's just not the offense, especially special teams. Like, Ron Nuss, he's done so good, but, I mean, there's been a couple of missed field goals. That's how close the games have been, but the defense has been really solid overall, though.
But, and I hate to go back to this, but with Marshall, it shouldn't have been that close. We should have capitalized when we got the turnovers. I mean, that's kind of that's good football, you know?
Well, Jared, but going into this game, what did you think? Since we didn't have, we had Matt on, he gave his prediction. What did you think was going to happen going into the Marshall game?
Yeah, like what I put on my part of the article for the prediction, I think, is that I had Western winning by 3. Like, I definitely thought that they were capable of getting it done. And in the game, clearly they did. It's just those missed opportunities that have haunted them this entire season. I feel like that just cost them a game again.
Well, see, now that is interesting, and I guess that leads in kind of to your optimism on the team, because I was much more, as I typically am, pessimistic. I had Marshall up by, what was it, a touchdown, maybe?
Yeah, I think you had a touchdown.
I think I had like 31, like 24,
Yeah.
something like that was what I had, Marshall winning. So, in retrospect, like looking back, I'm like, oh, okay, this was closer. But then when you watch the game and you see what happened, your expectations are allowed to kind of morph during the game. It's like, look, now looking back on it, yeah, Western ought to have won that game. This is a pee down your leg kind of moment.
Well, this was a dogfight. Defense-wise, I think both defenses were playing really well. But, like I've said 100 times tonight, you didn't capitalize on defense or on offense. I do have to say that the Messiah White interception was the most exciting event for me.
That's pretty cool.
Because it was like Western just stalls out, and then the very next play, he gets the interception, and I almost started jumping up and down if I didn't have my laptop in my lap.
That would
I
have
was
been
like,
Don't do that.
oh my gosh.
Don't break a laptop.
But yeah, I mean, it's just so frustrating. Of course, I drank the Kool-Aid too. I said Western 24-21. But another frustrating thing for me is Sanford. I don't know if you all heard this or not, but Sanford said that Western was a few points away from 0-5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I kind of agree with the person that wrote the article, Fletcher. And he's like, but at the same time, we're a few points away from 4-1. And he's right. We're 3 points from Wisconsin. What was it, 31-28, right?
From Wisconsin? No, we had...
No, Wisconsin, not Wisconsin.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
like, no,
Maine.
Maine.
The
yes.
other northern state. Sorry.
Yeah.
We were 3 points from them.
one.
We were 3 points from... Louisville. And 3 points from Marshall.
But here's my rebuttal on the Louisville and the main one. Louisville is a dumpster fire rolling downhill.
That's true.
And
Yep.
Maine has, like, what? How many scholarships do FCS teams have?
I have no
Like
idea.
half
dude.
of what FBS teams have?
I
Yeah, I think it's close to half.
Yeah, okay. So you're talking half the scholarship players. You're talking dudes that, like, there is absolutely no excuse. I don't care if Maine goes on, or not Maine. Yeah, Maine. I don't care if Maine goes on. I was going to call New Hampshire for some reason. If Maine goes
Same
on...
thing.
Same
Right,
thing.
same deal.
New England, yeah.
I'd say that Maine's pretty. I went there over the summer. Gorgeous state. Lots of trees, lots of water. Awesome.
Lots of black bears.
Lots of black bears. Not so many people. In general. I'm just saying. Just no people up there. Not a lot of people. It's a lot of bears. We're not gonna color the bears.
We're not going into the race
There's lots of
thing here,
bears.
okay?
They're
Gosh.
white bears and black bears. They're all kinds of bears.
White bears and black bears.
There's
All right,
probably
go
not
on.
any white bears
All right.
in Maine, to be
Go on.
honest.
That far south.
We're on a tangent. Go on, go.
But there's no excuse for it. I don't care if they go win the FCS National Championship. There's no excuse for being within 3 points.
I agree.
There's no excuse. So for him to be like, well, we're 3 points away from having 4-1. You should win games. You're paid. I go to work every day to be a compliance person, right? Like, I make sure that we comply with regulations. And when we do not, guess whose fault that is?
Yours.
That's my fault.
Well, okay. I'm sorry, but I have to comment. When did Sanford turn into drunk Rocky Balboa?
What do you mean?
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I hear when coaches talk 9 times out of 10. Because I don't believe anything they say. Like, I love Coach Stansberry a lot. I love that he is here. But he is a basketball coach. I don't believe anything he says.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
you can barely understand anything he says anyways, because his voice is basically gone year-round.
That's
He
true.
needs to see a voice specialist for sure.
I don't know if you guys remember, Jared. I don't know how long you've been following WQ Athletics, but prior to, I guess this has been like 2 Lady Top basketball coaches ago. Anyways, I can't remember her name. I'm sorry. But
Yes.
she
I know who you're talking
always sounded, because they always interviewed her after a game, right? And she always sounded like she had just cried for 3 hours. Like her eyes were all puffy.
Gosh, you're going to make me look this up.
I'm
yeah.
going to make you Google it. Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay.
Jared, do you know what I'm talking about at all?
I don't really remember her, but I remember Ray Harper and his purple nose all the time.
Ray Harper did turn purple all the time. That's so... I forgot about that. He always looked like he had, like, terrible rosacea, like, right after games.
Oh my gosh, I gotta go to the wiki.
While
I'm
okay. While he's trying to find that, Jared. So for those of you that have read, there was an article on the Towel Rack where all of us that have been contributing graded the games, and most of them were either incomplete, which is interesting, but
that's
a
a cop-out.
That's right. It's totally cop-out. But the rest of us were like D, F, D, incomplete. But you, yes, Mary Cowles. She always sounded. He just found it on the wiki. She always sounded like she had just cried for 3 hours.
And she looked like she had cried. For
Her face is always puffy.
Depending on the game, it may be true that she did cry for 3 hours.
That's true.
But it looked. You know how sometimes girls get when they're been crying and the makeup looks like it runs. Looked like the makeup was gone.
Yeah.
After the fact, she's cried so much that the makeup and all is gone.
Probably just she didn't wear any because she was a basketball coach.
Well, that could be too, but she was
just sweaty.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever.
But no, so
great. Go back to the grades.
But Jared, as far as I can recall, you were the most positive in your write up of how the Tops are doing so far and grading them. Did you have them as a C+?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely generous for sure.
Well, so defend this dissertation, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Rosdeutscher, because I disagree fundamentally with that grade.
Jake and I were at least on the same grade, and then I saw C+ from you, and I was like, going to have to ask him about this come recording night.
Yeah, so, I mean, my logic is thinking back to how close the games have been, that they are super duper duper close to being 4-1, but of course they are not. But just given the margin of error and the youth with this team is kind of what I've been grading on, because, I mean, a lot of these guys are true freshmen, or if they're not true freshmen, they have not seen any playing time whatsoever. We've used 3 different quarterbacks up to this point. That we just have a lot of young guys that haven't got to play much. And I feel like the more that they get their feet wet, the more that they get some playing time, that they will get better, especially with the offensive line. I think the average for them is a redshirt sophomore is what we have. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the more the snaps these guys get, I think that they'll be all right. And I've kind of taken that into consideration with what I've been saying, is that these are a bunch of young guys, and with inexperience becomes stupid penalties and boneheaded decisions with zone reads and stuff like that.
So, I'm sorry to cut you off, Jared. Would you say this is a rebuilding year?
Ooh, that's a good question. A rebuild, I mean...
This year
you just lost Mike White. You lost a bunch of other people. Mike White was a big loss in itself. I mean, the quarterback position is something that we haven't really struggled with. And even this year, I mean, we haven't necessarily struggled with it, in my opinion. It's just we don't have any consistency with who we're choosing as our quarterback.
So Devin's trying to instigate me into saying this earlier. I just want to be very clear in my portion. I did not say that this year was not a rebuilding year. I said the program was not a rebuilding when Sanford took over, and I stand by that because, like I said, you have an NFL signal caller, you have an NFL linebacker, you have a practice squad, albeit now because he's been downgraded on the Saints, but still, you had talent across that roster. And I recognize that the offensive line was garbage and that we struggled with health at running back, but there was talent there, and that was better than a losing record, and I will die on that hill.
I agree. I'll give you that. But at the same time, my thing is you lost Dowdy, who was a stud. The dude had been there longer than Van Wilder, okay?
Yeah, but Mike White the previous year had almost surpassed, if you looked at what if he had played for the seasons under Brown that Dowdy played, he would have surpassed all of the records that played. He was arguably a better quarterback from a talent standpoint. I mean, we know right now he's the third man of the Cowboys and Dowdy's not on a roster. So we know, at least I think he was a better quarterback. You just had a very different style and a coach that was not ready to take over the reins of a pass-heavy offense. He just wasn't. Good coaches do not force their programs to change overnight, and that was what you saw last year. Now, everybody says, well, Jake, they passed a whole lot. They actually threw more than Rome did. Yeah, in the second half of the season, they made up for the first half of the season where they were running it on 3 downs and then throwing a screen pass for 5 yards when it was 3rd and 7. That was bad, and I will stand by that. I do not think Sanford is a good coach. I think he's going to be gone in a year or two unless something changes. You are paid to win football games, and when you do not win football games, you do not get to coach football anymore.
I'm not arguing with that. I'm not arguing that point.
Me neither.
But I will say, for Mike White, but he didn't. He didn't beat Dowdy, and I'll stand by Dowdy because Dowdy, I know Dowdy.
Yeah, I know, right?
I knew Dowdy because when I left, Dowdy was like a red shirt. He had just gotten hurt when I left.
Yeah, because he came in and started.
Yes, he started
not even a whole series.
Yeah.
Tore his knee up and had to go down.
Tore his ACL or whatever, and then he went out. But it's kind of one of those things. It's like, but he didn't. Mike White may have been more talented, but Dowdy had more experience at quarterback, and that's why those coaches picked him over Mike White in that aspect. Is Sanford going to be here in a couple years? I don't know. Unless stuff changes, then I don't know. Because he's at that point that it's like if we don't go to a bowl this year, I don't know how safe he is.
Well, I'll go ahead. I said
his seat is definitely very, 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 very warm.
It definitely
very warm.
is.
Dude, you could cook eggs on this seat right now.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Western fans are. Sorry, I just saw a stat on. I'm sorry.
Now, as far as like his seat being hot, like I totally agree with that. And I said I went on the record saying, look, this season could be as good as 8-4, or it could be as bad as 4-8. Now I'm looking at it,
I don't
and
know
I think
if we
it
could be 2-10.
Well, and I said too. I told a buddy at work who was asking me about it. He was like, "Man, if Sanford doesn't win a football game, is he fired?" I'm like, "I don't know. You got to pay money for him to be fired." And Western ain't got a lot of money.
I don't know. Sorry, we just both were looking at an ESPN stat, and we're like, "What is this?" Andre Furby is on here for something, and I'm like, "What did he do?"
I don't know. He's got a 1 next to him. I don't know. But
sorry, go ahead. Okay.
I mean, what do you think, Jared? I mean, just so you gave him a C+, and that is, you're grading on a curve of youth, and that's a fair point. Bottom line, 2020's rolling around. Who's coaching on the Hill?
Unless things drastically change within the latter part of this year or next year as a whole, I don't think White will be there. Not White. I was thinking,
Sam.
other Mike.
You're good. No, he's not there. You're right. He's not.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
So to be honest, he could probably call about as good of a game.
He could.
That would be interesting. I feel like he could go into coaching after he's done with football, however long that would be.
I honestly, I don't see Sanford as a coach, and
I say 2020 because I don't think they're firing him this year. I do not think they're firing him this year. I think you say, okay,
realistically, I think unless he just loses out the rest of the year and we finish like 1-11. I mean, he could be terminated for that, but I still think he's going to get another year. He's going to get a third year, and regardless on what he does with that third year, that's what's going to decide on whether or not he's going to be the coach moving forward. Because if he's not bowl eligible in 2019, then he's probably it's not going to be looking good.
See, I did get into it with somebody at Towerac, I don't know who, that he could be let go before conference games of 2019.
Oh, like midway through the season?
And I don't see that happening. That would be a disaster. That would be a garbage
firing
fire.
A coach mid-year has never really worked for anybody.
No, you don't do that. I mean, that's kind of a no.
Yeah, you just well, and it's bad from a hiring perspective because you want to instill confidence in the next person you hire.
Yeah.
So you definitely don't want to say, oh, if you screw up, we're not even going to let you finish your season.
Yeah, I mean,
plus you got to bow out the rest of the season.
Yeah, and a good segue for that is Coach Sanford's pay.
Yeah.
He's the 92nd highest paid football coach in college football. He is 6th in Conference USA. Now, granted, North Texas coach is topping out over a little over $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's not bonuses for beating Arkansas.
Yeah,
no joke, because in their contract there's stipulations for wins over certain opponents, going to bowl games, etc., etc. So that could be part of his contract. I don't know, but.
Well, the state of Texas in general is kind of crazy with football anyway, so they probably got some money over there to invest in stuff like that.
I think football's a religion in Texas. I think you can put that on your taxes.
It is the number one religion in Texas.
That is correct, yes.
Besides barbecue.
Now, a funny stat that I saw is that Marshall's coach, Doc Holliday, who's been at Marshall for 9 seasons, is the 7th highest paid coach in Conference USA. Is that stat correct?
Yeah, he's right behind Western.
He's right behind him.
However, for a base salary, he's ahead of Sanford. But when you talk like total compensation, he's like $2,000 behind him.
Yeah, see, I mean, and that's a big thing for me. I'm like, really? And he's been there 9 years. Of course, the funny thing for me is watching the game. Of course, Stadium is trash. I'm sorry. That whole network, I get so frustrated watching games with him. But
Yeah, it's very cringeworthy.
they lose the ball.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
was...
are these students? What is going on here?
One job.
Yeah, you had one job, dude.
And seriously, the placing of the score on the side, that's not edgy, that's stupid.
No, the clock is what cracks me up.
Ugly.
Oh, yeah.
The clock cracks me up because it looks like they literally have somebody filming the clock at Western.
Yeah.
I'm
They
pretty
probably
sure.
do, honestly.
Second thing is, the announcers are talking, when Western took the lead, Marshall fans went nuts. And they're like, I cannot believe that he's losing. If he loses this game, he needs to be gone tonight. He doesn't need to ride back home with the team. And I was like, oh my god, this is serious. And of course I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, I hope we do beat them. This would be hilarious.
Yeah, that would be...
Doc Holliday on the side of the road with a cardboard sign
Take
will
me
work to get home.
Please take me back to... Don't take me back to Huntington. I don't want to go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's the greatest thing ever. But I'll let Jake take over for a little bit now on basketball because I don't do round balls.
Yay.
Yeah, and that's kind of... I love your enthusiasm, Jared. That's like
Oh.
your thing, and yay. Hate to see like birthday parties and stuff, man. Golly. No, so I kind of have questions just as like kind of conversation starters. As we all, it's a little more positive, hopefully, for basketball this year. Super duper amount of hype. Super looking forward to everything. My question for you, Jared, just kind of get stuff rolling. You're not allowed to say Charles Bassey because everybody's going to say Charles Bassey. Who are you most looking forward to seeing hit the court as far as new faces that are coming to the Hill this year?
Ooh, as far as new faces, I still gotta go Delano Banton. I think he's got a lot of potential and upside in his play. I mean, he's a 6'8" point guard.
Seriously,
So,
though,
I mean,
how does that
height
happen?
Mismatch is going to be great. So I think he's going to be pretty good. He was a 4-star recruit across the board, Canadian and everything. He's going to be really good.
What is it with Stans and loving the Frozen North recently?
He does.
I
Yeah,
don't
he
know,
does.
but I mean, that could be an honestly good pipeline if he continues to keep that strong. So I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, if you can keep getting the best players, I mean, I don't care where you pull them from, dude.
No, I'm good with Mexico, Nigeria,
Senegal,
Canada.
I'm
yeah.
down, dude.
I guess my favorite player would be Savage just because of his last name.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I love that name. I mean,
It is-
I loved
it is-
Randy Savage.
I like
as a
his
kid.
first name a lot better, though.
Yeah, Jared Savage.
Very-
Exactly.
very exciting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Very exciting name.
Um,
No, so for me, actually, it is who I think will be the starting power forward, even if he is undersized, and that's Deshaun Murray, dude. I'm looking forward. So last year we had Dwight Colby for just being an absolute dog. I think every team needs one of those, as cliche as it is. You need an enforcer. You need somebody people are scared to post up on. And even though he's a little undersized, he makes up for it in sheer madness and aggression. And I just cannot wait to see that dude headbutt somebody. Like
That
I'm
guy
just
has a motor. I tell you what, he is a rebounding machine.
exactly, and I am so looking forward to that. I mean, I know, I was talking again to a buddy of mine at work today, kind of talking about the lineup.
all he does is talk. He doesn't really work.
I
Just so
don't.
you know-
I
just so
actually,
you know.
I do not work at all. No, I do not.
Are you guys hiring by chance?
Yes.
Actually, we are. We are hiring for a lot of positions. Now you got to move to E-Town or close by.
I mean, I live in Franklin. There's nothing here. I mean,
I mean, E-Town's a step up from Franklin if you're looking for stuff to do. Unless you're talking about being close to. Well, we're an hour away from Louisville,
Yeah,
but
we're
you
not
guys,
that far.
you guys are super close to Nashville though, and Nashville's more fun than Louisville. So
Yeah. You got to
Yeah.
speed on Nashville.
yeah,
The two most popular things to do in Franklin is go to Bowling Green or go to Nashville.
that's
so,
kind of what I would figure.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys got to drive in. That's fun, sort of.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, except they keep showing the same movie for like
It's
6
true.
months.
It's true. And you gotta turn the little radio dial
Yep.
and run your
Yeah,
batteries.
that's the most
Oh.
frustrating part.
Yeah, it really is.
But do you really go for the movie? You
No,
don't really
no,
go for the
I've
movie.
I've
of
never
drive-ins.
been there for a movie.
You've either
I
got
was the kid that would, like, there's a little grassy area right in front of the screen, and, like, a whole bunch of us would just play football for a very long period of time, and then the movie would start, and I'd fall asleep.
That is the most innocent answer that I think
Yes.
to come up with. You're
Yes.
a golden child because that's not the reason I did not go hang out with my buddies and play football at the drive-in. That was not why I went at all.
You don't go to the drive-in for that. You go for
You borrow
other
your
things.
girlfriend's van for her
Yeah.
parents' van for a reason. Dude, funny story on that, just completely off topic. We went one time, so went with the girlfriend back in high school, and again, the van that we borrowed did not have an auxiliary position to just run like the radio, like the
Yeah.
low energy stuff. So it like ran not the car, but like the battery was like on, and so we're watching the movies,
quote, yes,
and eventually the movies are over, and we get ready to leave, and the car won't start.
Surprising, really,
right?
Yeah.
And so
basic mechanics here.
17, stupid, and of course they didn't have jumper. They didn't have jumper cables. Of course I would have had them in my. But anyways, so I'm sitting there going, man, I'm gonna have to call my dad to drive down to Franklin from Warren County. It's gonna be 30 minutes on the road.
God, probably longer than that.
With my dad driving an hour and a half. Luckily enough, the owners, the proprietors, are so used to this.
I'm just gonna
they
say,
pulled right up. Didn't even jump it from his vehicle. Had like a separate rig to jump the car and got us on our way like stupid teenagers. And I was like, thank God.
They're probably used to that though.
Well, we weren't the only one. There's like 4 people that he's like just driving around. But no, yeah, I'm most excited for Murray as far as that goes. Again, I'm looking forward to. I love violence in any form or fashion. I think he's going to be an absolute machine. Okay, so second kind of discussion topic for basketball, right? Couple articles have come out talking about non-com games, and we've all retweeted and read it. And one of the
read out,
yeah. One of the most anticipated non-conference games is Wisconsin at the Tops, and I know I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
because
me too.
now I hate that entire state.
Oh my God, I hate Wisconsin. They're like minor Canadians, right? In my mind,
don't you know?
Yeah, don't you know?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Don't you want to get some cheese? Don't you know?
Yeah, that's what I picture in Wisconsin. Is they milk cows and they say "a." That's what I picture.
Much.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you?
Frank Kaminsky is basically the face of Wisconsin.
I think so. Like just a lanky white dude.
That is Wisconsin.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think Western and UK fans, and probably several other fan bases, Arizona can unite in the hatred of Wisconsin.
Yep, I agree.
For a few more months, and
I always root against the BBN, but I'm gonna tell you what, I come across the aisle to now hate Wisconsin. Whatever club jacket or secret handshake we got to do.
That's right.
I deplore the Badgers at this point.
Oh, I agree. I think it's like a bloody nub with 3 fingers sticking up, and that's
I'm okay with that. Like, just no. I deplore them. Jared, are you gonna be at that game?
Absolutely.
Yes, secret. I don't know if it still works or not. Can you still use your student ID to get in games? Or
I can neither confirm nor deny that they just look at them in the ramp.
Well, here's the thing, is that I was given some interesting genetics. I'm 25, but I'm 5'4", and I look like a freshman in college. So I could use my student ID as much as I want. But, I mean, I still kind of go the honest route. I mean, me and my family, we have season tickets and everything, so...
Gotta be the nice guy.
So first you go to drive-ins to play football, and now you're talking about following the rules at sporting events. God,
he's a Boy Scout.
I'm such a clean-cut guy. I'm sorry.
He's so nice. Golly. Now when I'm arguing with you about stuff and I'm all negative, I'm just going to be like, well, I don't want to hurt his feelings.
Yeah,
like, he's such a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. You can't do that.
But no, I'm absolutely going to go to that game regardless of how I get into that game. I'm absolutely going to be in the house for that. I don't care if it's sold out. They, like the MTSU game, they'll just let you in. That was an awesome game last year, except for that we lost.
Good. Actually, another point. I hate to bring this up.
No, you're good.
What do you think of the Western charging $2,500 to sit in the not end zone, whatever? What is that? Eruption zone? What's
style?
It called?
Like floor seats. If they can sell them, cool.
I don't think
it's abysmal, and I hate it.
Why is it abysmal and you hate it, Jared?
What do you got, buddy?
I'm just not that much of a fan of those end seats. I mean, I was the guy that was always like first or second row of the student section when I would go to games. I was the guy that helped yell at everyone, essentially, just on the opposing team.
Your mom doesn't love you. You're adopted.
Environment that you want in the student section of a college basketball game. You want someone that's actually going to pay attention, be invested, and actually care about what's happening. Which the people that just come in and sit and then leave at halftime and football and basketball are so annoying to me. But yeah, I just don't really like it.
Now, see, for that seating, I haven't read a lot about it. Is it actually all-around floor seating that's going to be taken away from, like, students, or is it just going to be in, like, one little sectioned-off chunk? like near the bench or something.
Well, I think it's supposed to be like if you're sitting where the towel looks normal, set upside down, you're looking on the home side, it's on the left-hand side, like the student section's on the right. But they did still take all the bleachers and original seats that they had for the student section out, because when I went in after the renovations for the first Lady Topper volleyball game, like I got to hear the new sound system, see the DVD boards, and also the student seating was different. And funny story, I walk in as a non-student, and I walk next to where the student section was, and one of the event people was like, "Hey, come sit in our new student section. We have a new layout. It's kind of it's in this little area right here. You just kind of sit in a chair right there." I'm just like, why'd y'all have to do this?
Well, you know, it was interesting to me because I remember when my last couple of years at Western, like ours, again, basketball was not in the best shape the last year or two. We did get a tournament berth, but the student section was not we did not fill up that full, like we did the last year. It literally was those, like you just described, those little set of bleachers, and that was pretty much all we, and then like maybe like a row or two behind, that was all we sat in. I'm all for students being like, I like the style, like on the floor, in the faces of people. I'm kind of with you on that, though. I do love money if they can sell them out.
I'm almost to the point that I would rather have students on each end, and then if you have room, put the pie payers on the out of bounds on the sides.
Yeah, I think you need to put them near the benches. I mean, I think that's the
put
key
them near
thing.
the
That's
benches
the
or
access
whatever.
that you pay for.
Exactly. And, you know, because you want the students there, you want them to, I mean, I get your point that, you know, it's kind of hard to get them there, but you want them there to, you know, they've got to be the presence.
Well, last season it wasn't. The games I went to, I mean, the students were absolutely the difference. I mean, the MTSU at the Tops last year was one of the best atmospheres I've ever seen. And I mean, it was packed to the gills.
See, that was the kind of stuff that you strive for as like a huge diehard fan for your home team, is seeing that kind of turnout and that kind of enthusiasm. Because honestly, when I was a student, the only time I ever really saw that was the 2014-2015 season, first year in the CUSA.
Yep.
Started out 8-0 in the conference. That was also when we played number 4 Louisville and Diddle. That was a sellout. That place was absolutely maddening. I will never forget that. Even though we only lost by 9 points, that's still probably my favorite game that I've went to as far as the environment, because we have all this hatred just for U of L. I mean, naturally, most of us did. And, of course, seeing Montrezl Harrell get thrown out, and, oh, man, and being able to yell at Rick Pitino and him
that
be
is
so
always
close
a good time.
and actually hear what I'm saying, that's priceless.
Yes, because he doesn't associate with the peasants, so when you force him to, it's excellent.
Yes, anytime you make Rick
Like
Pitino
I said, like
associate.
as a secondary U of L fan, I think that Chris Mack is a refreshing change of pace for the Cardinals, because he is not a D-bag who hates everyone.
And as, of course, I'm Western first, you know, kind of UK secondary like you. I like Chris Mack, and that's hard for me to say.
Right?
Because I've gone from the Rick Pitino hating, you know, to now we got Chris Mack, and it's like, I hope y'all do good. Come on, guys, pat on the back.
He's just so nice. He eats at Roosters and Burger King.
Nice. Yeah, he's so nice. But yeah, what else you got, buddy?
Not when they play Xavier, though. Not when they play Xavier.
Yes, I'm sure he throws up the twin middle fingers there like Rick did. Which, by the way, my favorite memory of Rick Pitino at UK is the middle finger to the UK crowd.
You know what? Here's the deal. I like my coaches with a little bit of douchebaggery and edge. As long as you're winning, you can do it. You know what I mean?
I love that, though. That's still
See,
the
like going
thing.
back to the Western and Louisville game in 2014 too. I mean, Ray Harper had some of that too, because they were trying to sort out the whole ejection of Montrezl Harrell
Right.
and the whole scuffle that happened. And him and Pitino started getting into it a little bit. And all of me and my buddies were like, "Punch him, Ray! Just give him one right into the jaw, please. Just clock this guy. I don't care if we lose at this point. Just please punch him in the face."
That would have been like top 10. You know, we got banners up, and that would be a banner.
That's
Somebody would get a
banner
picture.
deserving, absolutely.
It's just Ray Harper leaning in and Patino just free bleeding everywhere.
But I could just, I mean, it would be even better if you could get like the Rocky spit sweat
Yes,
combo.
absolutely.
That would be
Absolutely.
so much fun.
Sorry, Ray, we didn't get it. Can you hit it again?
That's just a burst picture. When he goes to swing, you know, Daily News or whoever's just got to hold that sucker down and just get as many good pictures as you can.
All right, Jared, I got one more basketball question for you, just generally. And I know that, I don't know if it was you or Matt or who was working on, or Sam, I don't know, somebody was working on like a season breakdown and kind of like lineups and things. But expectation-wise, for this upcoming basketball season, just a teaser to whatever you're going to write, general, you know, I don't want to spoil it, what are your expectations for this season? What do you want to see out of this season to be satisfied as a Hilltopper basketball fan?
Well, it's been a very long time, at least in Hilltopper years, that we've gone to the NCAA tournament. I feel like that's something that I feel like is very possible will happen, unless something catastrophic happens, which we obviously don't want. But with the team that we have now and the players that we have assembled, I think NCAA tournament is a good realistic expectation to have. I don't think it's far-fetched as years pass. But honestly, I mean, I'm still I don't have my head fully in the clouds yet. I'm not trying to think, oh, we're going to win 30 games and we're going to get to the Sweet 16 at least and run to CUSA. I mean, we have some good talent to do that, but a little spoiler on one of the articles I'm writing, I'll kind of share with you guys, is I'm looking at the front court starters and talking about who will probably be starting and on Bassi and everything. Like, he's going to be a really good player, but I don't think he's going to be someone that comes in and gets 25 points and 15, 20 rebounds like first game of the year or anything like that. I think he's going to have to kind of ease into it a little bit. I mean, at the end of the day, he's still a freshman. He's a very talented one, but he's still a freshman. And even with Hollingsworth and Anderson and all of those guys that are coming back, they still had their moments where you're like, I don't know what you're doing. But they got it together. By the end of the season, it was a very strong team. And I feel like that's going to be kind of the route that we go this year, is that we'll have some really good tough tests. We'll have Washington and Seattle. We'll have the Myrtle Beach Invitational against some good caliber teams, Valpo, West Virginia, to name a few, that we'll probably play. And also, I mean, Arkansas, that's going to be a good one. Of course, St. Mary's and Wisconsin at home back-to-back is going to be an incredible experience for not only the team, but also for the fans, just to have that environment again. Probably 2 sellout games that you could count on for sure. So once we get to conference play, that's honestly what's going to make the real difference, and seeing how well we held up through that. I mean, there's going to be a couple of ugly losses, I would imagine, that happened. Like last year, it was the loss to Ohio that left me scratching my head and be like, really?
Yeah,
really?
God,
Out of
I
all
forgot
the
about
teams,
that, man.
you go to
God.
freaking Ohio and lose. Not Ohio State, but just Ohio. But
Bobcats.
I mean, it happens.
The Bobcats. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's a bad taste.
And
too.
I mean, the very first game of the year, too. I mean, they played Missouri State, which has an NBA player, Leach Johnson, now on my Pacers, extremely happy about now. But he was a legit player, too. And his very first home game that counted. And Missouri State wasn't bad either. But, I mean, there's going to be games like that you may lose early on, but I don't think it's going to be damning by any means. And we'll see how this new NET evaluation tool is used by the NCAA too. I still think it'll probably screw over mid-majors, but we'll see about that.
It's definitely going to. It's RPI on steroids. I mean, let's be real here. It is going to absolutely crap all over, because it's not going to be, I like numbers, I like stats, I like getting rid of eye tests and that sort of thing. But however they design it, even if they do a statistical breakdown, they're still going to weigh the Power Fives. They're still going to weigh the names heavier. They just are by conference association or whatever it is. So we're still going to get hosed. We just have to, whatever the quadrant 1 and 2 like wins end up being, whatever they call those in the net, we've got a shot at several of those.
Yeah.
Between the Myrtle Beach Invitational, I mean, the Washington's a fringe top 25 team coming in preseason. I don't know about Wisconsin this year. They're probably going to be a little better. I don't know if they're going to be that much better.
Yeah, there was an article I saw from, I think it was Barstool. They ranked every single college basketball team as far as where they start for the season, and Wisconsin was actually behind Western. I can't remember where Western came in that, but they were ranked worse than WKU. So
yeah, I mean, we are seen, the Tops are seen as one of these, quote, bracket busters, right? To use a really played out term, like a team that you need to pay attention to because, like you said, once Bassett gets his feet under him, once the team starts to gel with some of these new faces and we see kind of the improvements that Hollingsworth and some of these guys have made in the offseason, this could be a team that really scares people and ought to scare people. Like you said, coming out of conference play, going into kind of the postseason. Do you think they have a shot at an at-large?
Ooh, it depends on who they lose to I'd say who they lose to in the non-conference more than the conference. I mean, I hope that the Conference USA as a whole is a lot better than it has been the past few years. I mean, the bottom half of the conference has just been pure garbage in layman's terms. But the strong half of the conference is going to be good. Some of those middle teams, like some of the Texas teams, is going to be really interesting to see how they do too. But it just depends on who they lose to. If they lose to like Belmont at Belmont, I don't think that would be completely bad. I mean, they're usually a tournament team.
Yeah, they're always a French tournament team.
But I don't know. It just depends on who they lose to. I hope it's not to like some dumb team.
Yeah, I agree. I hope it's not to something stupid.
So do you think that a Sweet 16 is a possibility depending on where you're ranked?
Ooh, it just depends on how fast they get stuff together, for the most part, and also is like how the bench plays as well. I think that's going to be the biggest factor, is because like if Bassie gets in foul trouble, who's going to step up? Who's going to try to come in and take his place and get those rebounds that they need? Maybe block some shots or get some putbacks or anything like that. It just really depends on the depth, I really think. I mean, thankfully now we actually have more than 7 scholarship players, right? Which is incredible. From last year, I mean, it basically doubled this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
So having that
7 to
depth
13.
is going to be exceptional, especially with the kind of caliber players that they have. Even though if they are a little green around the edges, but I mean, they'll be good.
Well, and like you said, talking about depth at like the center and the forward position, I mean, I don't think Horton's going to be. I mean, it's JUCO, so I get that, but at the same time, I think that's a guy who, when Bassie needs to take a breather, like, there's definitely going to be drop off. But you're talking about a dude who has played some basketball and is just a big old sunbuck at 6'11".
Yeah, he's a big old guy too.
Yeah, he's a beast. That's all you can say.
Yeah, and Jalen Smith, I wouldn't sleep on him either. If he's healthy, he should be pretty good.
Yep.
And don't even get me started on Savage. I mean, jeez.
That is not going to rest until Jared Savage sets a 3-point record at WKU. Okay, so let's.
I'll give you a hot take right
Okay.
now. I think that Anderson may possibly be the leading scorer this year.
What?
Ooh.
Did he learn how to shoot in the offseason? That's my only question.
That's what I've heard from sources. I'm just going to say I got some sauce in places
That he's learned to shoot.
are very credible sauce. So they said that Anderson has improved his shot. He's not like Steph Curry by any means,
Well,
but he has gotten a lot better. So I think he could. I think he could get a little more than Hollingsworth, but we'll see.
If
That's my hot take for you guys.
Josh Anderson can shoot a 15-foot jump shot reliably, oh my God! Like, you're gonna blow people out of the water.
Hey, if he can beat me in horse, then we'll be okay.
Are you good at horse? I have no idea if you're good at horse.
I don't know.
That could be a tough task. I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no idea if Devin's good at. I haven't played horse against Devin in like over a decade. I have no idea.
Some
But
very difficult
that kind of
shots
wraps
there.
up my basketball topics. We didn't really ever decide on a like ranked for
Whatever
this
you wanna
week. How about let's just keep it easy. Best buildings to nap in on campus. Dorm rooms are excluded. You cannot pick a dorm room. You can pick a dorm lobby or like a dorm kitchen. You know, a basement,
Yeah, see,
a
I'm
ping
out
pong
of this.
table. But you can't. But you got to do buildings. So Jared Starr, what's your favorite place to take a little nappy poo on campus?
See, y'all don't even really know the best place because I was a music major, so I basically lived in Ivan Wilson Fine Arts Center. That's basically where I spent all my time. But on the 3rd floor is this whole hallway just of practice rooms.
And
that
art
you
studios
get
and
individual
God knows
key
what
in,
all.
You go in, you can lock the door, you can play piano, you can practice your instrument, you can do lots of things. That's besides the point. But that place...
Oh, so
Incredible.
now,
So
now, hold
lots
on.
of things.
Let's roll back the tape on that. Mr. Golden
Yeah,
Boy knows
yeah.
about some stuff that can happen. No, I used to
It
chase.
wasn't
I
for
used to
me.
chase
It
an art
wasn't
major.
for me.
I know
I
what they're
know
like.
plenty of stories of Gatton kids that kind of went up there.
Oh,
that were
dude, let's not even
decent
talk
music
about the Gatton
people and
kids,
got
man.
in.
Oh my God, their first year, they thought smart kids wouldn't do terrible things. Yeah, guess
Yeah,
what? They're the
right.
best at terrible things.
They are. They're smart enough to know how to get away with some of those terrible things.
Yeah, some of the
too.
stories I've heard of Gatton. Oh my God. Okay, so you're talking the music rooms in fine arts. In
Yeah,
FSU.
as long as it's not like during prime practice hours, like around juries when you have to perform in front of your professors and stuff like that. Usually it's kind of crowded and there's a dude right next to you playing his tuba as loud as he can.
got a
So it's a little hard
sousaphone
to sleep.
still,
But just FAC in general, quality naps I've had.
I can see that. Of course, working with football, I guess the stadium's the best place to nap.
Because you can hide from people.
You can
You
hide from
actually
people.
slept on midfield, right?
Yes, I have slept now. I could have slept on midfield, I guess. No, one of my hobbies for doing at football, like after football games, was to steal the cups that people leave behind. Those $20 cups.
Did you still do that?
Oh, I still do that. If I go to a Western football game,
It's so weird.
I will walk through and get about 10 or 12 cups, take them home, wash them about 2 or 3 times in the washer, or in the dishwasher with bleach and everything. Make sure they're clean. I'm not going to drink, and get herpes or something, but, that's the thing I do. I walk around and steal cups.
That's his. I know. I saw him. He's like, man, I got these after the game. I was like, what do you mean you got these after the game?
Do not badmouth my fine china, okay? That is my
It's
fine
like when our
china.
grandparents kept the Cool Whip.
Yes.
Like the margarine tubs.
Yeah, don't look in the fridge.
Jared, you're from Franklin. You understand the kind of redneckness that goes along.
Oh man, oh absolutely.
No, my favorite place to nap on campus, as far as buildings go, is absolutely the library, because nobody uses the damn library.
Nobody
at Western.
does. I didn't even know we had one for years.
Everybody goes
that's why it took
into
you 7 years to get your
crazy-
undergrad
That's what it
degree.
was.
Just switch out the city, and that's
Gosh.
basically it.
No, I did like sleeping in the library because it's always nice and warm.
Yeah.
You get a nice little sun patch up on those crappy old couches from 1975.
If you get cold, you can burn a book because nobody's going to read it anyway because you can get it online.
Just don't set off the fire alarms.
Yes.
Yeah, and flood the whole thing.
Oh my
Although
gosh.
at FAC they go off all the time anyways, so I mean,
Yeah,
kinda
so
used to-
my dad actually retired from WKU and facilities, and FAC was one of his buildings. And one of the reasons you guys actually
I'm so sorry.
have like lights that work now is because a couple years ago he took over because they never used to replace your guys' lights. Like, just stuff would go out and they would just, it's the art majors, we don't care. And like,
I got a fun story for you guys.
go for it.
Yeah, this is an FAC story. So, my early class, I had at 8 a.m. It was called Oral Skills. It's part of music theory where you have to, like, learn the different pitches and, like, how far they're apart and all this other weird music stuff. So, I mean, used to going into FAC, go to try to open the door, it's locked. I'm just like, that's weird. It was, like, 7:30 in the morning. So, I go around to the other entrance, it's locked. I'm just like, the heck is going on? So, I see a couple of people I was in class with, and it's like, hey, you know what's going on? Just like, no, not really. And then they found a professor that went over and tried to open the door. It's locked, but they had a key, so they opened it. And we're like, oh, cool. I guess they just forgot to open the building this morning. No big deal. So we go in there, completely dark, no electricity whatsoever.
That's why they had the doors locked.
Third floor. We go up to the third floor. It's like half of our class, which is about 8 people. Like, all of us are sitting in total darkness, wondering why the electricity is not working. Sitting outside of our classroom. Our professor still shows up, opens the door, and it's like, we come in there in, like, almost darkness, and he's like, he's such a cool and laid back guy. He's like, hey, guys, I just talked to the dean, and he said we can't be in here. So, there's not going to be any class today. So,
Yeah, he said, I talked to the dean.
We were all ready to have class. We're like, man, we'll do this in total darkness. We're dedicated. Yeah, sure, we'll do this. So,
Do you guys
we
believe
called it the Great FAC Power Outage.
if I
Because
showed
we
up to
could do
class
that.
at
Like, we
Grice,
just all left, and like, I went home basically because almost all my classes were in FAC, and they didn't restore electricity until 3 days after
that's impressive.
that. Like,
That's
none of us were
impressive.
supposed to be in there.
That's so awesome.
That is awesome. Let me tell you, first off, you're dedicated because I'd have hit the first door and I'd have been like, I'm going home.
Yeah,
Screw you guys, I'm
dude.
going
If
home.
I
See,
if
the
I
only reason any of us showed up is because we cared about the professor that much. Like,
That's
he
what
was
it is. There
the
you go.
coolest, most laid back. Like, he brought in food for us sometimes, like that kind of guy.
That's awesome.
that
He was my guitar professor. He was my guitar professor too, so I had some reasons to kind of be in there, be like, oh shoot, I don't want to fail.
I'm sorry. I think I would have been like, extra credit, extra credit.
yeah, right.
If we're not supposed to be in here, can we get extra credit for this?
That guy.
Of course, I was a biology major, so like that's what we would do all the time. Nobody would show up and we'd be like, "Can we get extra credit?" There's like 3 people here, and they'd be like, "Yeah, pass a notebook, pass a piece of paper around, sign it."
I was definitely one of the guys that did not get the extra credit because I was not. If there was not attendance, I would not go to class. I just would not do it.
Yeah, it's the worst thing when they. It's like you're an adult. You're supposed to go to class. You should know this. You're paying for it, but at the same time, it's like
If I can get the grade and not go to class, I'm not going to go to class.
Oh, I agree.
Like
I
it's
agree.
like taking an online class, but I have to pay for the convenience fee. I'm down.
Do not get me started on online classes. I had to do a degree through online, and it was awful.
Jared, did you take online classes at all?
I have a fun story about that. I actually had
Did you have a fun
PE
story about
online
everything?
because my professor, like, it was supposed to meet in LT Smith Stadium and everything over in the kinesiology department. Yeah, I would have had that class with DeAndre Furby too, which is kind of interesting side note. But like, we all go into the first class in the classroom we're supposed to be meeting in, and the professor walks in. She's like, "I have some very interesting news. How many seniors do I have?" And like half the class raised its hand. It's like a 100 level, just basic, most basic health class you could take.
They're just trying to get out of a PE credit.
And yeah, it's annoying. But I took it my senior year. I just put it off. But she's like, I have some good news for some of you. I'm actually took a job in Louisiana teaching, and I got it approved by the dean that we can have the class all online and we can just monitor everything that way. So I would have had to go from Cherry Hall down to LT Smith Stadium.
Oh, that stinks.
And that would have sucked. So I was so hype. And like all the exercise that you're supposed to do, like with the full class and stuff, yeah, I never did that. Screw that.
Dude, that's why I took a health class. I didn't want to take like bowling or whatever. So
I got
took
spared
jogging.
so much. And not only did I have to not walk all the way down there, but I didn't have to exercise with all these people and all that other unnecessary garbage that goes with beating in an actual class. So I was able to just sit in my house and just kind of chill and just type in all my little Quizlet stuff.
yeah, absolutely.
I absolutely hated online classes that made you do discussion boards.
My wife's in one right now for her
And then
master's
you-
class.
That's a waste of time. Nobody reads that.
It is, and then it's like, and you have to reply to 2 people.
Oh, interesting points you have there. Let
Yeah.
me agree with you.
Oh, they're totally getting on that though. Like the ones now, they're like, you have to say something besides that you agree with them.
I mean,
I'm
I
like-
always put a little blurb, but it was
Yeah.
just like, it didn't make any sense.
Well, that's what I always do. I was like, when my wife took her online classes, I was like, okay, I'll do your homework, but you gotta pay me.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway,
Well, I don't have anything else. I think that's my favorite. So we got music building, we got
Smith.
and I just like the library because I love books.
And side note about Smith, there for the first few weeks when they opened it up, they had fixed the key cards so everybody could go to the top floor and see the top.
Nice.
And then, after a while they caught on that people were going up there. But that would have been the best place to nap because it was still under construction halfway, but the workers only worked like half the time.
Yeah.
And so you could go up
Still
there
work.
and like lay behind the bar and sleep, and nobody would have any idea you were there.
Speaking of key codes, Jared, can you confirm nor deny that the code to get into Diddle still is 4 zeros? Because it's been 4 zeros for a long time. That's some ROTC buddies that used to go in there all the time and let me in, and that always blew my mind. They're like, yeah, it's been this way for like 20 years.
Yeah, I've never actually had to test it that way. I mean, usually when I show up to stuff, it's already open, so I don't
I'm
really know.
sure it's not still
I'm
that.
sure, but Jared pays. He's the good
That's
guy.
right, he goes in the
doesn't
front.
go through the back door. He goes through the front door. So
So it's
Yeah, I
fine.
mean, I even remember talking to Coach Stansberry about that at Hysteria last year. That was an interesting conversation. I don't know why I didn't take him up on this, but this is probably the most Stansberry thing he's ever said. That I was talking to him. It's like, I got season tickets this year, Coach. Looking forward to everything. It's like, hey, I appreciate your support and everything. It's like, yeah, I miss being in the student section though, because I mean, it's always so crazy and just getting crazy and stuff. He's like, well, you ought to still go over there. I was like, can I do that? And he's like, listen, you go into the student section and you act crazy and get those people hyped up. And if anybody comes to you and says you can't be there, you can tell them to come talk to me. I was like, oh, okay. I like the way this is going. But I mean, a lot of the guys that I knew, I didn't really get to see them much in the student section anymore. So, I mean, I just kind of sat in my normal seats because it's kind of crazy, especially because I have to tweet the game so much.
sucks
Like, I don't
getting
want to be
older.
that guy on
Yeah,
my cell
right.
phone the entire time in the student section, making it look like I'm not really getting into it. So that's kind of why I didn't.
Yeah, I absolutely suck at that. Like last year, the MTSU game, I was like trying to tweet, and I was taking video and picture, and then by the by a little over halftime, I'm falling behind on that because I'm like raving a town, like banging the seat and like just being stupid. It's like I'm really bad at in-game stuff.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to let me do that.
Yeah, you just do that. I'll just show up and fizz at the mouth and do all
I just
that.
do color commentary whenever there's a game on, and I'm like, what was he thinking there? Or what was that?
Sweating meme.
Yeah, the sweating meme is my favorite all time.
But I don't have anything else tonight.
I'm
Jared,
good.
you got anything else you want to plug or talk about? You good?
I mean, not in particular. Then we're good.
Don't forget to check out Jared. He writes for the Towel Rack, and what's the Twitter for the Towel Rack?
It's the Towel Rack WKU.
There you go, at the Towel Rack WKU.
Yep. Give them a like, give them a follow.
Yep, give him a like, follow.
I just had a tweet that almost got to 100 likes. I don't know if it's got there yet. It was that presidential alert tweet. I'm still really proud of it.
That was
Is
a pretty
that why
good
you?
tweet.
Is that why you were asking about the
Yes,
record?
that is. I think that is now our most liked or retweeted tweet, and I'm pretty proud of it because capitalized on memes. I mean, that's all I really do. In my Twitter bio, if you go check out my Twitter, which you should, it'll say that I'm a writer / memeologist for the Towel Rack. So
That's
That's
awesome.
kind of
I
my
like
job here.
memeologist. I like that.
Yes, we got to start getting some memes out there so we can get some more likes.
That's right.
But yeah, I'm good. Just don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, all the good stuff.
Literally
to,
just consume all the content.
yes, at Redout 1906, at the Towel Rack WKU. Follow Jared R24 at Devin_Stewart at Outlaw Red 13.
That I never check ever.
So yeah, it's fine. It's all fine.
Yeah. So Jared, thanks for joining us tonight. We sincerely appreciate it. Look forward to next time you're on, whoever we have next week, and go Tops.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Ross. Ross Shercliffe is going to be next week.
Yeah, we can talk. We can talk how much U of L sucks.
Yeah, he's a good U of L guy too, so that'll be awesome. But again, go Tops.